Okay. All right, Chip, let's talk about SB2C. The local sheriff's office is getting involved in immigration. I know that. What does that entail for y'all so far?
Well, we've been having this discussion with all the sheriffs throughout the state because there's a lot of moving parts and it's fluid. What it means for us is that we can sign off on federal warrants, administrative warrants, but it's not that simple. We have to go through a process. There's training. I think it's called 287 officers, and it allows individuals, whether it's corrections employees or sheriff's deputies, to be trained to serve these administrative warrants. Now, those are cases which you don't have state charges. So if we stop an individual and they have state charges, we'll take them to the jail.
Right.
And then the jail will determine, and they'll contact ICE, and they'll determine if they want to come and pick them up. But there are situations when we may be doing a search warrant, and there's an individual that may not be in the country legally. And right now they have placed, I think, 700,000 warrants on NCIC, National Crime Intelligence Center. So that when we run somebody, the warrants will pop up. But again, they're administrative warrants, and they're not criminal warrants, which means right now a local can't serve those.
Right.
However, Sheriff's Office has signed an MOU with Customs and ICE that will eventually allow us to work together on getting these administrative warrants through the system.
Yeah. Do you plan on having special unit to deal with this, or how are you thinking this through?
We're still working on
Right.
that. We have a warrant section right now that their job entails going out looking for people and serving warrants that we have active. And we're already part of various task forces with federal partners, state partners. So we'll likely have some of them trained to be they're already warrant service deputies, and then we can just get them certified to do that as well.
Funding wise, how have they figured out the funding mechanism for the extra work for y'all?
As I understand it, there is money in this bill that can go towards fulfilling these directives.
Well, just the training cost. I think.
Exactly. I mean, and the training they haven't put this training on for a couple of years, but I think that they're trying now to figure out a way how they can get not just Florida deputies, or Florida police officers, but also nationwide, trying to get a number of people. We've always worked together. I think it's important to note that we've always had this desire to get the really bad guys off the street, whether they are they come from another country and are here illegally, or whether they're homegrown bad guys. We always want to get them off the streets. We always want to investigate and apprehend criminal gang members. So we're going to continue to do that. This is just going to allow us to be able to serve these warrants on these individuals that have these warrants on them.
Right. Sheriff, we know there's a lot of movement in the federal agencies now. Trying to find the best word for it.
Yeah.
I know you've always worked closely with the Marshal Service, with the FBI, with ATF. Has it impacted any of this turmoil? Has it impacted any of that for you?
I can't say that it's really impacted us. We're gearing up. We're reading the new state statute that makes being here, crossing over into Florida a state crime. We're understanding what that means, and as I've mentioned in the past, we're working on what it means to get our deputies certified and trained so we can serve some of these warrants. But we've been parts of numerous task forces. When I first got elected, one of the first things I did was contact our federal partners and say, "Hey, let's work together. I think we can do this specifically with drugs."
And that's kind of what I'm interested in. Has it impacted? Have you had to adjust there? Is all the task force that you had, is that still moving smoothly, or has there been some issues?
No, we're working very well together. We continue to move on our narcotics task forces, on our child porn task forces. I would eventually think that, or I eventually believe that there will be some pull from some federal agencies to help with the immigration situation. But that's not my lane, and I'm not sure how they're going to end up making those moves, or if they make them at all. Mm-hmm. But right now, our task forces are going strong, and we continue, and we hope to continue with that.
Since New Orleans and the how, an attack on Bourbon Street, there's been a heightened interest and focus on improving public safety at parades and those events. You've got the Mardi Gras, parade on the beach coming up. What has that done for y'all, manpower wise?
You always try to learn from situations as they happen. Hopefully they don't happen, but you always think what could happen. Where are our vulnerabilities? And we do that through tabletop exercises. We borrow other from other incidences that take place throughout the country, throughout the world, really. And obviously, the thing that happened in New Orleans, the thing that happened in the event that took place in New Orleans is something that we take a look at because we do have a number of street events.
That have been around for a long time.
We have parades, we have Mardi Gras, we have, and at the beach, we have the 4th of July, we have the Blue Angels, we have the fair. So we have a lot of large crowd type events right here in Escambia County. So when we looked at New Orleans, our fear again is that someone says, "Hey, that was a good idea. Let me try something like that." And I think we owe it to everyone to take a look at. First, you look at the path. Where exactly is the parade going to be? We've had numerous conversations over the last couple of days about that parade specifically. And while I don't always talk about security,
right,
I can tell you the parade is 0.7 miles. It's maybe the shortest parade in the area. And we will have, we're raising our number of deputies that will be available at that parade. I can tell you that we'll have about 50 deputies there at that parade. And again, it's less than a mile.
Right.
So we will have fixed assets. We will have barricades. We'll have assets that are able to get mobile and in their vehicle pretty quickly. If something, heaven forbid, like it that happened in New Orleans, we'll make our best effort to stop those. Someone that would do that.
We're in the war room next to the real time crime center. Have you been able to increase cameras on the beach? Tap into the cameras that are there?
Well, we have a conversation with the landowners, the hotel owners, and trying to get some of the access to them. Right now, I'm working on getting cameras. We worked with the Island Authority last year and got approval and worked this out, and we're getting cameras on the boardwalk area. And then next year, we looked at perhaps getting the cameras on the Casino Beach area. So this is the main hub of Pensacola Beach. But the one part of the half on the boardwalk, we've already isolated locations. We've already taken a look at the power needs. We're going to talk to a couple of beach condos to see if we can have access to their rooftop for some communication issues. So I'm very excited about the cooperation. I'm very excited about the work that we've put in the technology melding with the manpower. So we're very excited. Not just on the beach, we obviously have some around the Massachusetts Avenue area. So we get better every day.
Okay. All right. I know that on your to-do list going into this year was negotiate a new budget agreement. How have those negotiations been going?
So far, they've been going very well. I think that as people may or may not know, in the state of Florida, the sheriff and other constitutionals, they work with the Board of County Commissioners on getting their budget. And we have options. We can get a one-year budget based upon a proposal from the sheriff, or we can try to get a multi-year deal. My first year as sheriff, we did the 1-year deal. And then then we went to a 3-year deal. So now that's expiring now. So we have to get a new budget deal. So, and part of that is me saying, this is where we are. This is where I see Escambia County. This is where I see the growth. This is where I think the needs are, not just today, not just in 2025, but also in 2030. If whether I'm here or not, someone's got to look after the agency and look after the county and make sure that we are policed to a degree that we deserve to be. And so, to answer your question as succinctly as I can, I have had those negotiations with them. I've told them, the county administrator, what I think that we should, where we should be. I don't know that I'm at liberty right now to say where our back and forth is. That's not really fair.
Right.
But I think that I can tell you that I feel confident. I feel pretty good about it. I think that public safety, specific law enforcement, in this context, I think that we share that as a high priority in Escambia County. And as we continue to negotiate and to talk about the needs of not just the sheriff's office, obviously the county has needs with fire, with EMS, with all other county employees as well. And I think that we can come to a resolution. Hopefully, it's a multi-year deal, so it helps me to better plan. If I can get a couple extra deputies one year,
Right.
I'll know I can get a couple extra the next year, and I can perhaps formulate a new unit, or a new organize a new task force type thing. So I think it's beneficial for us with regards to budget. I think it's beneficial for the Board of County Commissioners to also know where what their funding needs are going to be, not just 1 year, but 2 and 3 years down the road.
Where are you with, you have unions to deal with too.
Mhm.
Where are you with them? How are there agreements in place with them now? Is it up for negotiation?
Well, there are. We have openers every year, so we
Mhm.
take a look at, and we're always open to me as the sheriff and my command staff. We're always open to say, what are you looking at here? We can't give you everything that you want, but I think that we can both again work together and understand where we're coming from. We have a terrific union. I think that they do a really good job of looking after the deputies that they represent, and I think that that's going to continue moving forward. A lot of it is pay, the pay scale, and then there's some working conditions. Working conditions are pretty easy. You want that? Let's do that. That sounds like a good thing to do.
Right.
I'm big on professionalism. I'm big on appearance. I'm big on courtesy and integrity and professionalism as our core values. So as long as they continue to understand that, and they do, they know where we're going. They know that, for example, we're sitting in what we call the war room, which is connected to our real-time crime center. They know where the Escambia County Sheriff's Office is heading, and I think it's an exciting place to be. I think they're excited about the future as well.
As far as openings, and are you pretty much fully staffed on with patrols?
Well, if and I have to go back just a little bit of time.
Okay.
There were many years in a row, even the 4 years that I was here as a chief deputy, we had 20 and 30 vacancies. We could never catch up because attrition was so high in law enforcement. But I'm proud to say that about 3 or 4 times a year we will be completely staffed, fully staffed. We have about 6 openings right now, but we have more than that on our list. On it, not just the big list, on the called down list of the ones that we can actually call and put them right into our next training academy. So our next training academy will start at the end of March, pretty close to the end of March, and we'll be fully staffed again at the end of March.
All right. But before we go, let's talk about, we've talked about, let's talk about the engagement side. What do y'all have coming up on engagement?
Well, a lot of times when you get reelected to a second term, you start looking at what have we done that works and what have we done, what can we do? What are we in a position to do with the second term that we weren't necessarily in a position to do the first term. So, what we looked at the things that we were doing and said, hey, this is pretty good. Let's keep doing this. There's a couple of things like the Blazer Academy, which we're in the midst of a boys Blazer Academy, and we just today had a meeting about an upcoming female Blazer Academy. So obviously, this is something that we're going to continue. We're going to keep with the Blazer Academy. We're going to expand that again, as I just mentioned, something good. Let's make it even better. It's that good to great type of a thing. What we're going to do is have an alumni on the boys' side because we've had enough classes now. Let's see how you're doing in a couple of years because we've been doing it now for 4 years.
Right.
So we're going to have alumni. We're going to Blazer Academy and again see where they're at. So Blazer Academy is one thing. We do a Dream Big program for 5 to 11-year-olds. It filled up in 2 hours. So we looked at that. So we can't stop that. We have to keep doing that. But we can't wear our employees out. So we're going to have 2 of those. We're going to keep that. The movie nights, where we have a movie night coming up here in a couple of weeks at Dixon. And so that seems to work out pretty well. But we want to get more people there. We want to make sure that we can get to the right neighborhoods where we're within walking distance. Not always able to do that. I mean, Beulah is probably our best attended movie night. And not too many people walk down Mobile Highway to get to that. People actually drive to get to that. Right. So we can draw a crowd. I want to draw a walking crowd. I want to be able to attract the kids that might want to come. The parents can just grab a towel, grab a lawn chair, or anything, and then walk up, watch a movie, get a meal, and then leave. That's part of those things. So the bottom line is we're going to make that better. So engagement. I want to continue to offer sheriff's office resources to neighborhood associations. When I first became sheriff, I said, let's have a meeting in our Warrington precinct. Let's open up that building. let's have meetings in. We can't do it in our Inslee because it's just too small. But one of the things we're doing here at the sheriff's office, the county was kind enough to, when they built the new jail, they left the existing video visitation, some of the stuff they had over there. So we've taken over that building, taken over a strong word, but we're using and accommodating that building. Two things. A, we're going to use it for our police academy, which we've already done. But we're also trying to I looked and said, what's the biggest room here? Let's make, well, I'll call it an auditorium, even though it's kind of a mini auditorium. But I want to be able to house at least 100 people. So when we do our safety in a place of worship, we do our neighborhood watch academies, we do these things, we can get people in there. And right behind me, I have a big screen. I can show them videos. We can do some how-tos. This to me is taking that next step of having the sheriff's office become very much a part of the communities. If we can't always get to the each neighborhood association, maybe we can once, twice, 3 times a year, we can get them to come to the sheriff's office, and we now will have a room that can accommodate them. We have a training room here that we use, but again, it's the orientation of the room is not quite the best. You have to look to the left, to the right, because it's kind of narrow and wide. But again, it's this thing to have a capability. And on the same note, it allows us to bring other training sessions in. It allows us to bring trainers in that we wouldn't ordinarily be able to accommodate. I can bring in more than one shift at a time. I can have all of my lieutenants in one room at one time. I can potentially have all of my supervisors in one room at one time. Again, because I want them out there in the street doing what they do best, and that's serving the community.
Great. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, and to keep up with what's going on, be sure and subscribe. Just click on the little dog to the right and click the subscribe button. You can also like this video and click on the bell, which will notify you of new content. This really helps the channel grow. We appreciate you.